Hey, greetings there, fellow makers. Welcome to Prop Live Q&A, your weekly prop and costume making Q&A session. Today we have a guest from the East Coast, from New York City. We have Becca. Hi, Becca. How you doing?
Hello. I'm good. Hope you guys are all good.
Very good over here. We're in Seattle and it's raining, so everything is as it
Oh,
should be.
sounds wonderful. I hate the rain.
For those of you who haven't already seen all the wonderful stuff that Becca has made, she's a cosplayer. She was on Cosplay Melee. You can check out. We'll have links to all of her awesome stuff, including I'm just showing off right now your store envy. We've got a whole bunch of
Oh.
really awesome stuff on there. Want to tell us a little bit about that?
Store Envy, I just have like things that I can make super quick there.
Mm-hmm.
There's some Vegeta armor, there's like some Sailor Moon stuff, Red Hood chest, and like prints. Just like really quick stuff.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, like popular quick stuff.
I like that you do female Saiyan armor.
Yeah.
We recently met a guy who does Saiyan armor, but he does all dudes. So you're
Hmm.
representing the female contingent.
I am. That was actually an accident.
Yeah?
Well, kind of an accident. I got a commission for Princess Vegeta, and I admittedly had never watched Dragon Ball Z before when I got the commission, and I started working on it, and then I like threw up a progress photo on some social media, and everybody was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see you wearing this," and I was like, "I'm not wearing this in commission." But I felt so bad, so I was like, well, I'll make one, I guess. But then I watched Dragon Ball Z so I could know what the F I was making. I'm not huge fan, but it's okay. Like I know about it, and I feel confident that I know some history.
That's cool. Very good. Well, it looks like you have a whole bunch of cool stuff over there, as well as, of course, you've got Instagram and Facebook and all the other fun places where people can go check out all the cool stuff you're working on.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have a list of stuff, actually. Brittany, my wonderful wife, has put a bunch of links to all your cool things, including, let's see, this one here is the Wonder Woman sword build. You got a sweet video up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Let's see
Yeah.
here. So this looks like you did some insulation foam work, which I can appreciate. Very cool.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I use that to make pretty much all of my like substantial props, carving it and then covering it with Worbla. And I love those guys. They sent me a bunch of that foamular, and I love it because it's so easy to sand and it's so lightweight. It's like it's like butter.
Yeah, and you can work really fast with it too. That's one of my favorite reasons.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
And it's cheap. Yeah.
It's so cheap. Yeah.
That's cool. And I had seen these, but I didn't realize that you were responsible. But you did. Oh, where did it go? The Care Bear, Care Bear, medieval Care Bears, or Care Bear Knights.
Yes, I'm guilty. I like fuzzy, cute things in armor.
Yeah.
That was my group project this year for KatsuCon. So
Oh,
I like to
cool.
do like a big group every year at Katsu, and the Care Bears were 2017. We
That's
didn't
great.
actually get the whole group together, but there was a good number of us who came through.
That's awesome. I'm a sucker for mashups and also
Mhm.
for whatever the things were that you liked as a child. So
Yeah.
for me, it probably would have been GI Joe, Ninja Turtles, and what else? What was the other one? He-Man. He-Man. I have to
Oh, He-Man,
find some sort of clever match.
Wildcats,
Oh yeah,
gummy bears, like,
I saw someone do Street Sharks recently.
oh, that's cool.
That's so good.
It's like so. I don't think I've ever seen any Street Shark cosplay.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
Captain Planet. Captain Planet's awesome. I saw a Captain Planet once, and I was just like, holy shit.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Captain Planet. Oh, and the other thing too is so Brittany linked us here to a bunch of My Little Pony designs. So you did all the drawing and designs for these?
Yeah, I started with My Little Ponies were first,
Yep.
and so yeah, I did those, and that was all me except for the Rarity. Rarity designed her own,
Uh-huh.
and then the following year was the Valkyrie Eevees,
Oh, cool.
and I enlisted my friend Glad ZK, who's an awesome artist, and we got Zach Fisher on board with the weapons,
Yeah.
and like the three of us collaborated, and it was like the most amazing, fun like awesome collaboration ever. And then the Care Bears, I just did all myself this year.
Oh my. Well, that sounds like a lot of work. Everyone in the chat's really super stoked about it. Core Geek loved the Care Bears. Avatar says he really likes that group. Looks
Oh,
like
yeah.
people are really stoked for it, and for good reason, of course. That is
Yeah,
that
it's
is
great fun.
awesome. Cool, and you have a whole bunch more stuff coming up, including, or not coming up, but previously you were on the War Games episode of Cosplay Melee, which I
Yes,
saw and I was very excited to
it was
check out.
crazy.
Who else? Who are you with on that group? If you could refresh my memory.
So in my group, we had Caitlin, who on social media she just is Caitlin. She just goes by her real name. And we have Josh, who I believe is Cosplay Armory on the social media, and then Steve, SKS Props.
Yep,
And there's the four of us, and we we had well, it's kind of crazy when you're, when you're with four people filming for a week. You get really close, and you're working together so closely, literally. So, but we had a lot of fun. The show
that's
was,
cool.
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, I had a lot of fun watching it. I recommend folks who are watching this show, if you haven't watched Cosplay Melee, go check it out. We ended up just getting it on Amazon Prime. We just paid for the season.
Mm,
No
good
commercials.
supporters. Good
Hooray!
support.
Yeah, because we'd like to see them make more of those. I think they were pretty great.
Yeah, I think so. It'd be great if they were able to pull out a season two, because then even more awesome, amazing, talented cosplayers and builders would get to, show their stuff and try it out.
Absolutely. Hey, gang, speaking of anyone watching live right now, if you've got any prop and costume making questions, please feel free to submit them to us over at punishedprops.com/live. You can submit them anytime during the week, and we capture them all and put them in our little document here. And I keep saying we, I mean Brittany, my wonderful wife. She does all the hard work. And then we'll answer those questions for you. Before we get started on those questions, Becca, do you have any cool projects you're working on right now that you want to share with us?
Um, I am working on a new Wonder Woman, and it's not. I don't think it's from anything except the artist, Clint. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Searly, or I think it's Searly, Clint Searly. And I was looking for like a version of Diana before she became Wonder Woman, and I
Mm-hmm.
came across this. Wish I had a picture of it to show you, but it's just she's wearing like a gold breastplate, and she has a white sash, kind of like toga thing, and it looks like straight from Themyscira,
Mm-hmm.
basically. But it's really like got a high gloss finish, and so it's my first time trying to make Worbla look like actual metal and be super
Oh,
shiny. So I'm trying out these new techniques, and some of them are, eh, I'm learning as I
yeah.
go.
Yeah, wrangling that Worbla texture is going to be a bit of a challenge. So I
Yeah,
don't envy you.
yeah, it's definitely a process.
All right. Well, the best of luck to you on that build. That's exciting. I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Thanks.
We have some questions here from our wonderful prop tarts in the chat. They've sent some stuff our way. So what do you say we dive in and enlighten them?
Let's do it.
All right. The first one actually comes from my wife Brittany, aka Lady Longshanks. She thinks your wigs look awesome, and she's curious if you have a favorite wig brand, and if you could
Hmm.
briefly go over how you style your wigs.
Oh, sure. Okay, so I I have a lot of epic cosplay wigs,
Mm-hmm.
because they're cheap and they come in a lot of assorted colors. But they're not my favorite in terms of how they feel, because sometimes they can be a little scratchy. But I like the price, so I have a lot of them. But my favorite wig brand is probably Rockstar Wigs or Gothic Lolita. I think their wigs are just such nice quality, and like my Evie wig was from there, and my Evie wig is probably the most styled wig I have, because for me, styling a wig is usually taking it out of the bag and putting it in either one or two braids because I can't style. Um, but I'm trying to get better at styling. So I did a little like poof, and then I did a crazy braid in the back and had some little things hanging down. And wigs are hard. They're really
Yeah.
hard.
I have only ever tried one wig, and I spray. This was a very long time ago. I spray painted it, and it
Oh,
looked
nice.
terrible.
Was it like super hard?
It was no longer pliable after that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I imagine so. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like a whole different ball game, wigs.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things you don't realize. Like, if it's done really well, it just looks like someone's hair. You don't realize how much work went into it.
Yeah.
Follow-up question also from Brittany. She wants to know how many cats you have and what their names are.
I have two cats, and their names are Seven of Nine and Tucker.
Okay, so 7 of 9. Obviously, you're a Star Trek fan, but what is
Yeah.
Tucker from? Is that just that he's just named Tucker?
I'm actually really ashamed of where his name is from. Like, I don't want to tell anybody.
Okay, we won't press then. It's fine.
He's like, I actually wanted to name him Figaro because I had wanted a black and white cat since I was a little kid. And so when we went to adopt them, I saw him and I was like, that's our cat. See, he's like splotches all over. But he was such a brat that we had to name him Tucker. Whose reason we will leave.
All right, all right. All right, let's move on. Thank you, Brittany, for the hard-hitting questions. Let's grab another one here. This one comes from our buddy Nerdy Views. He's curious, were there any tools or techniques that you learned in the Cosplay Melee workshop that you've added to your prop making arsenal? Ooh, that's a good one.
Man.
Because from what I've heard, the workshop that they had there was very well stocked with tools and materials.
It was. It was like the most amazing shop you've ever seen. Like we walked in, we were just like, holy shit! Like there's everything that you could ever possibly want there. And for me, because I live in the city and I don't have a workshop or a garage or anything that I can like, go and work in. I work in my apartment, so I have limited materials that I'm able to use because I actually live, eat, breathe, and my cats live here too.
Yeah.
So I have to be careful. So I went on the show and I like sat on the floor and I worked on the floor and I stuck with what I knew because I didn't feel like going into a competition and just trying out a bunch of things that I didn't know was a smart idea. So I really just like did my thing with Worbla and that was it. I looked at the tools, the power tools, and I was just like, no.
Right, it could be very distracting to say, oh, look at all the wonderful tools over there. I don't know how to use them, but they're there, so I'm going to give it a try. Next thing you know, you've completely destroyed what you're working on.
Yeah, or like, oh shit, 6 hours has gone by and I made this like circle.
Yeah.
So not really like new tools or anything, but I did get to use some EVA foam mats for actual flooring.
That's crazy talk.
Because Steve ordered an ungodly amount of foam because for some reason he thought he was going to be able to make like his orc again.
Oh yeah.
In the allotted time. So he had this mountain of foam, and like halfway through, he turns around and he's like, "Do you want to use some of these to stand on?" I was like, "Yes," because we were working on concrete.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so that was a new use.
Yeah, for those
Actually
long
using it.
days.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nerdy Views. That was a really great question. Moving on, we have one here from Christy from K-Pod Cosplay. Christy is curious about comparing Worbla to Thibra, and if you have a preference one way or the other.
Um, I at this point or at this time I prefer Worbla, but Thibra does have its uses. It's also thermoplastic. It's a much smoother surface, but it's a little harder to use because it's very sticky. When you heat it up, it sticks to everything, and it also it takes the imprint of just about everything it touches, including your fingerprints.
Uh-huh.
So you have to be very careful about the surface when you're using it. But when it's cool, when it hardens, it's actually a little stronger and harder than Worbla is.
Oh.
Yeah, so I like to use it for some things, and sometimes I'll even use it as a tool for like joints and holding things together, just because it's so strong.
Is it self-adhesive the way that Worbla is?
Yep, and it's like it's moldable like clay too, so you can heat it up, roll it in a ball, and like cast it.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm just looking at their website right now, and it's Thibra, Thibra. They have, yeah, they have like a push mold that they use, and they
Yeah.
show a really cool looking crown for cosplay. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, they have even more. I just clicked on a whole bunch more pictures. They made some cool armor looking stuff. Excellent.
Yeah. It's cool material.
So there you go. That question came to us from Christy. Thank you very much. That was a good question. We got more rolling in here from our wonderful Prop Tarts in the chat. Thank you guys so much. Let's grab the next one. This is from Nikki. I recently finished making the Lucky Raspberry chess piece from Destiny using floor mats. Very good. I don't remember which one that is. The Lucky Raspberry. It doesn't sound like Titan armor.
It sounds edible though.
Let's see. That is. Let's looking up some pictures here. That looks like a hunter. Okay, it's got a bunch of dots on it. Very good. I'm a very tiny girl, and it looks like I'm a little kid playing dress up with their parents' clothes.
No.
Aw. Would using a thinner, so I guess she used the floor mats, which are about a ½ an inch thick. She's saying, would using 1/4 inch or 6mm foam for armor making projects work just as well as the thicker foam mats when it comes to making proportions look right? That's true. When you use those floor mats that are a good ½ inch thick, a lot of armor, space armor, you would imagine is made out of some sort of thin space age material. It wouldn't be ½ an inch thick.
Mm-hmm.
So you could use the floor mats, or like the 1/4 inch floor mats or thinner. But also if you taper the edges, like make the edge really thin and just taper it back, you can make the edge of your armor look really thin, and therefore the rest of it will look really thin. Yeah, and if you form it so that it's as form-fitting as possible, then it'll look smaller and more proportional. Yeah.
That's a great tip.
What I found too, when it comes to making things look proportional on you, that really just boils down to building a thing, putting it on, seeing if it looks right. If it doesn't look right, you got to cut it apart, reshape it, put it back together, and on and on and on. And I've said this before. Every single piece of armor I've ever made, I've built twice. The first one is just the same thing like when you're sewing something. You know, you make a mock-up.
Yeah. You have to practice and make sure it fits right. And I usually make 2 patterns.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
In my initial pattern, then I put it on paper and make sure it fits again. And,
yeah.
You know.
There you go, Nikki.
Yeah.
So just do it all twice. You'll be fine.
Do it a few times and you're good.
Thanks for the question. That was a good one here. Next one is from Murden. Any useful tips on starting gauntlets from scratch using Worbla? I got a Five Nights at Freddy's cosplay suit I'm updating. Very cool.
Huh.
Gauntlets with Worbla. It looks like you had a picture up on your Facebook page. I'm going to go grab that right now. You go ahead and...
I just
dive into
thought,
the
well, I
question.
thought I had one right here, but I guess not. I just made some for
Yeah.
my new Wonder Woman cosplay. And when I'm making gauntlets or bracers, I just cover my arm in saran wrap and I use masking tape and I draw my initial shape that I want on, and then I cut that off, and then I flatten it out, put that in paper, and then I use the paper because it's not gonna stretch, I guess, as much as the saran masking tape method. Uh, I put that on and make sure it fits, and then I take that and transfer to foam, which then eventually gets wrapped with Worbla. Yeah, those. But the important thing about gauntlets for me is, at least I used to make them very, very big, so they would be too long and hit my elbow joint, and then they would be too long and I couldn't flex my wrist. So I feel like that's something that people tend to do is make something bigger
Mm-hmm.
than it should be. So you should always, keep in the back of your mind, make it a little bit smaller because
Yeah.
it's probably too big.
I found with replicating video game armor, because the character can bend their arm close, and if the
Hmm.
armor intersects with their upper arm in the video game, it just clips through. But
Yeah,
for reals, you can't do that. So I've found having to
exactly.
like cut a U-shaped piece out of the forearm
Yeah,
so that you can actually bend your arm. I've had to do
yeah.
that a couple times.
Video game designers forget that they forget that in real life it doesn't work like that.
Something else too, if you're making a pattern off of your part of your body like that, if the armor you're making is bulkier than your arm, you can always pad your arm out
Yeah,
with like paper or just balled up newsprint or
yeah,
something.
that's
Then
a good
wrap it in
idea.
ceramic wrap, and then your armor will be a little bit bulkier
A little bit
than your,
bigger.
yeah, for
Yeah,
the less form fitting armors. Excellent. I think we nailed that one.
I think
I
so.
think Murden's got everything under control now. Thanks for the question. Let's grab another one here. Oh, and just pointing out in the chat too there that Lady Longshanks linked to the place where you can submit your questions, punishprops.com/live. We're still grabbing those while we do this thing. So if you got a burning question, prop and costume making related, then send it our way. And the next question. This one comes to us from Lionheart Cosplay. Cosplay spelled with a K, just like Mortal Kombat. I'm just getting started in mold making. I had a quick question about gun barrels. Is it best to mold the master with a solid barrel and drill out the chamber for casting, or is it possible for the mold to include the barrel chamber? That can be challenging. Whenever I've done something like that, I've always cast the piece solid and then drilled it out afterwards. But if you're really clever, and this is some like next level stuff, you could build the mold so that you put a PVC pipe in the mold and it's supported by the silicone. And then when you fill it up, the resin will fill up the area around the PVC pipe.
Mm,
Yeah.
smart.
And then it's probably way easier to just drill the hole afterwards, but there are things you can do,
If
like
you wanted to, you
yeah.
could do it that way.
If you want to make it way more difficult, you can do it that way. But like Ray's blaster, if you look right above my head here, Ray's blaster, that barrel right there, I
Oh yeah,
cast it total. Actually, I can grab it. Can I reach? Hold on one second.
even better in person.
There. Good job, Bill. So this piece here was completely solid, and after I cast it, I drilled out the barrel. It's kind of hard to see, actually, if I put a light on it. I'm blind, everyone. There you go. And then the holes in the side. Oh my goodness.
Can you hear sirens?
Yeah, I do hear the sirens. The holes in the side, I drilled those out after it was cast as well. So
Oh,
it
so
was,
clean.
yeah, it's way easier to drill holes than it is to like get resin, a liquid,
Yeah,
to do what you want. So
definitely.
that's how I did it. There you go, Lionheart Cosplay. Thanks for the question.
Well answered.
Another one here from our buddy Blitzagog. How much time is it between the design of a new costume until you have finished the new costume? Do you have an average? For Becca, it's what, 3 days, right?
I was gonna say, if you mentioned 3 days, I'm gonna be pissed. That is exactly what you should not
No.
do, everybody. Only 3 days if you're on TV in the studio. No, but I would say anywhere from like 2 weeks to a month, depending on what I'm making.
Yeah. Depending on how much you enjoy going out and seeing your friends.
Yeah, if
If you
I
can
want to
give that
like
up, then you can get it
have a
done way
life.
fast. Yeah, I will. For me, the range is as short as 4 days, which I don't recommend, and for as long as a couple of months. So, for example, if you guys can think of the range, the Diablo armor I made, the Crusader armor, I built that in 4 days, which was insane.
Oh
The
God.
the Draugr costumes that Brittany and I did, that took the two of us a couple of months, but it wasn't 2 months of straight full days of
Right.
building. We were able to,
Those are amazing.
yeah. Well, thank you. We were
I
able
love them.
to spread that out quite a bit. But if you have to get an armor done in 4 days, then
I mean, anything's possible. If you wanted to lock yourself at home and work
yep.
from dusk till dawn, you're
And,
gonna finish it.
yeah, and just lower your expectations a little bit. Just
Yeah.
get it done. So for example, with the paint job on on that Diablo armor that I made was rushed, but I did it in a way that I could knock it out really, really fast. So it looks decent for having only taken a couple hours. It's not the best,
But it's possible.
but it looks decent. It's a 5 foot paint job. From 5 to 10 feet away, it looks all right.
The best.
Thanks for the question, Blitzagog. Let's keep moving along here. Hey, this one's from our buddy Rocket Man Props. He's curious about Creature Cast Neoprene, which is something I've been working with a little bit for sealing foam. He's curious if it has the same edge peeling issue that latex does. I haven't tested it thoroughly enough to really know. I will say that for most of the latex stuff I've done so far, I haven't put an adhesive down first, which is something that Evil Ted recommends. So you could spray it down with like Super 77 or brush it down with Barge and then put your latex on there, and it'll bond really well to the armor. But as far as neoprene goes, I haven't really tested it that much. Brittany, who's upstairs right now, did some more extensive testing on different sealing techniques, so she may know more about it.
Interesting.
But I will say, Rocket Man, it is worth getting yourself some of that stuff and playing with, because it's still really good. In fact, we just ordered some of the white neoprene, which is actually, I believe, more transparent, so that we can mix in pigments. We can mix in acrylic paint. So
That's cool.
yeah, I have a costume I'm coming up with that's gonna have like bronze armor. I think I'm gonna mix in some bronze acrylic paint into the neoprene, the white neoprene, brush that on my armor, and hopefully that'll be awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Britt is in the chat right now. She says, from her test, Creature Cast acts a lot like Plastidip. It can be peeled off, but it takes the surface layer of foam with it. So it does bond really well to the foam.
Huh.
And then Solo Roboto's in the chat. He says they use it a lot at Frank's shop, and it seems to hold up really well. Cool. So, there you go. Neoprene. Give it a try. We have a video on neoprene doing that on a helmet that I put up a couple weeks ago, so it's worth checking out. All right. Thank you, Rocket Man, and thank you, Steve and Britt in the chat for pitching in with your ideas. Oh, also, for our hole drilling, Cullen's Workshop pointed out that they make a jig for drilling holes in tubes or pipes. Very cool.
Oh, look at that.
Of course, there's a specialty tool for exactly that. All right, let's grab another one here from Magically Done Creations. I guess this is for me. How did you manage your time before you became a full-time prop maker and teacher? I find having a full-time job, college, gaming, and creating, the time runs out very quickly. Yeah, it sure does.
Yep.
So I'll answer this quickly, and then I'm gonna rearrange it and throw it at you. So quickly, mine was I didn't play video games. I didn't have college. And I neglected my job. That's not true. No, before I quit my day job, the only things I did was sleep, make props, and go to my job. everything else got cut out. I stopped playing video games.
Crazy.
My friends forgot what I looked like.
I make sacrifices.
Yeah, and then when I realized if I quit my job, I'd get a whole 8 more hours every day, then that was the tipping point.
It's so hard to transition though from like full-time work to, being a full-time prop maker. And
The no regular paychecks every 2 weeks was the most challenging thing
yeah, that's the scary part.
What is your schedule look like, and how do you fit your making into that?
Well, my schedule before when I also had a regular 9 to 5 was very similar.
Yeah.
I was big in gaming and loved that, and once I got into cosplay and started doing more, I stopped playing games. I stopped doing anything else. I stopped going out with friends. Like life was just work and making cosplay. And then I decided, I guess 2 years ago now, to leave my job and do this full time. And it's hard. It's really hard. But it's a lot of work, and every day is just something different. And
it's a new adventure every day, and sometimes that adventure is a disaster, but you never get bored.
Standing for 12 hours. You're like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been there have been certain aspects of being self-employed that I've like different eras that I've gone through. So for example, for a long time, in fact, one of the reasons why I started doing this show was that I was alone by myself all day, every day. So once a week, I would convince one of my friends to come on the internet with me and talk to strangers.
Smart.
Yeah, and that way I was like, I'm being social. This totally counts.
Yourself into being, yeah.
Yeah.
Something.
Until I had a shopmate, my buddy Will from WM Armory, joined me in the shop for a year or two, and then Brittany quit her job, and now it's the two of us all day, every day. So there are parts about that you forget. Like, even though I wasn't like really in love with any of my coworkers at my old job, at least I had someone to talk to. And that goes away. Like, that part of it goes away.
It does get lonely, you don't see another soul besides your cat sleeping on the couch all day.
Yeah. And they're no help. They won't stand anything.
They don't. They just sit there and stare with no help at all.
Yeah.
Or walk across something. Or throw up all over your patterns.
Oh, goodness. Mine haven't done that yet. Thanks for the question, Magically Done Creations. In a nutshell, be prepared to make sacrifices. That's really what it comes down to. All right. Next one comes from Chrysostom. I'm working on a project with lots of silicone molds. What's the best way to store and organize them afterwards? Becca, what do you have a lot of? Like, once you're done with projects, what, besides the actual costume, like, do you have a lot of patterns that are taking up a lot of room? Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have patterns on the floor right now. Patterns on my desk. They're in bookshelves. They're in my bed.
Yeah. And how about raw materials? Do you keep a lot of those on hand?
It's like, right now is weird because this is actually this is my friend's apartment, and we're living here just temporarily because we didn't really know where we wanted to live.
Mm-hmm.
So half of our like life is in storage right now, and the other half is here. So we have things like in the closet, but in our old apartment, you just walked in and there was shit everywhere. Like,
yeah,
like literally everywhere. We walked in and we had all of our costumes on display and stuff on the walls, and not even to look cool. Like,
no.
It wasn't like we were like, look at our museum with all of our costumes that we've made. It was like, that was the best way to store them.
This is the only place for it.
Yeah, like, we'll put them on the wall because we have nowhere else to put them.
Yep.
So that does get challenging.
Yeah, it does. I can't remember. I lost count how many silicone molds I have. There are a lot of them. And at some point they get old and useless, so they get destroyed and thrown away. Or you chop them up and use chunks of silicone to feed into other silicone molds. They bond.
That's also what jewelers do.
Yeah, so you can
Hmm.
reuse old molds like that. But they're just packed wherever I can fit them because they don't really, they're weird. A lot of them are weird shapes and stuff. If you have a
Yeah.
two-part mold, though, the best way to store them is to lay them on the flat side. You don't want the silicone to sag with gravity because if you leave it
Hmm.
like that for a long time, it can actually stay that way. And then when
It'll
you go to
work.
use it, yeah, it'll stay warped. So, for example, I have, and this is one of the most pain in the ass ones I have. I have the giant mold for the District 9 gun. It's 44 inches long. It's stupid big.
Jesus. Oh my
And
God.
it's massive, and if I stored it clamped together, then one half of it would droop down into the other one. And I never use that thing, so it just sits there on a shelf. And if there's a mold I don't want to get ruined, it's that one because it took us
Yeah.
like 4 freaking days to make that thing. So it's open, the two
So
halves of it,
huge.
and each half of it gets an entire shelf.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, there's
Why
no
didn't you
other.
guys just build a house for it while you're at it?
I know, right? So it's just like that now, and I put trash bags over it so that nothing gets into it, so it stays clean, no dust or anything in it.
Yeah.
This is actually a huge, really great tip from Steve over in Solo Roboto. He says if you cast something into that mold and then leave it in the mold, you can just leave it closed because then it won't sag.
Oh, that's really smart.
That is really smart.
Yeah.
I should have done that.
Yeah. You really missed out on that.
Yeah. So there you go. Good tips. Thank you so much. I love having these guys here in the chat. They're so smart. All right, let's move on here. And that last one was from Chris Sostum. Thank you very much. Next one comes from Shed Quarter Creations. I'm looking at making a prop from expanded polystyrene foam and wondering what I should do to seal or harden it for molding. Body filler or resin or XTC 3D, something like that. What would you do, Becca? Because you made that sweet, sweet Wonder Woman sword that way.
Well, I usually always cover mine with Worbla,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that that's a lot of stuff can eat away that foam. So
Yeah.
you have to be careful with what you put on it. Wood glue works, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know about casting.
Yeah, if you so if you were to mix up like let's say some polyester resin, what you would normally use for fiberglass, and brush that on the expanding foam, it would probably melt it, and that would be the worst thing ever. But if
Yeah.
you seal it with something first, even if it's just acrylic paint, just a layer of acrylic paint, then that'll help protect
Hmm.
it from other solvents that would eat it
Yeah.
away. You said you were working on a Wonder Woman armor that you want to be shiny from Worbla. What sort of
Mhm.
finishing techniques have you been trying out to get it to that nice level of shininess?
Well, I am actually coating it with XGC3.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was doing yesterday, was sanding all day because I did, I think, three very thin layers. This is the first time I've used this stuff, so it's like learning process for me. But I painted it on and they're like nice glossy finish, but there's still a lot of like weird little bump kind of things that are popping up that I can't have in my final finish.
Mm-hmm.
So I just tried sanding it yesterday, and now I'm like trying to figure out if I want to keep sanding and work my way up to like 1200 grit, or if I should, sand with 400 and then recoat it. Am I gonna have the same problem? I don't know. So I'm like trying to figure it out. And then I ordered this new paint that I'm gonna try. It's oh shit, I forgot what it's called. Um, it's like a chrome. It's you can airbrush it and you can also spray.
Is that Alclad?
It's not Alclad. I was watching this guy on YouTube and he was comparing Alclad with this other one,
Oh, all right.
and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try this other one because it came out great and he polished it and it had this really high sheen finish. So let's see if I can look at my.
There are a lot of different ones. Like maybe it's Mirachrome. Mirachrome is another one. But there are a bunch of different like chrome type paint, like lacquer paints. What's the other one? Suddenly I can't remember.
SpazStix.
What was that?
SpazStix.
All right, that's awesome. I will find a link for that and put it in the show notes so that we can try that out.
Yeah, it's supposed to be so I'm going to use the Ultimate Black Backer, which is like a high sheen, primer, and then I'll do the Mirror Chrome finish, and then that gets polished, and it looks pretty damn close to chrome.
That's awesome. So, I'm looking forward. Like I've been doing more of that stuff lately, and I'm looking for more fun stuff to try out. So that'll be cool. Yeah. I will add a link to that in the show notes for sure. I like that on their website the little cans of paint have capes and on them.
I know. I was just looking at that. That's really cute.
So anyway, yeah. So for the molding, then you could, in theory, make your base shape out of expanded polystyrene. You could cover it in Worbla, that would protect it, and then you could brush on lots of XTC 3D and sand it down to a super, super shiny finish, and then you could mold that. You could mold and cast that if you wanted to.
Yeah. I would love to get into more molding, or any molding. I don't do any, because I live here.
Yeah. There you go. So cool. And the next question we had too was similar. This was Christy from K-Pod Cosplay. Just curious about how you seal, paint, and finish the surface for it. Yeah, there are lots of different ways you could do it. You could cover it in Worbla. You could also just use, we've used, come on, brain, Epsilon, another similar epoxy resin that's made on
Epsilon.
Yeah. You can tint it as well. You can put pigments in there so you can get your base color down nicely. We did a video on that a long time ago. We made a giant gear and then we never finished it. So, yeah. Nice. But the video shows how to use the Epsilon. So that part we covered.
Yeah, that's cool. It's not that flexible, right? Epsilon?
No, Epsilon Pro is a little bit more flexible. So if you need some flex, then splurge on the Pro. Excellent. Thank you, Shed Quarter Creations, and thank you, Christy. We got a handful more questions here. Let's see. This is a good one. This comes up every once in a while. Kellen wants to know, any tips on keeping from getting too hot if you're wearing a big, heavy costume?
Ooh. Get a fan. A little fan.
Yeah. I will tell you this much. Don't wear that costume if you live in Arizona. Because I went to Arizona. Yeah. Don't go outdoors. I went to Arizona for a con a couple of years ago wearing my full Mass Effect armor, all foam. And you step outside and immediately it's like, mistakes. This is the worst.
God. I just looked at the weather. It's 116 degrees there. I don't think I could wear any cosplay there.
No. I will say, actually, I mean, you laugh about it, but yeah, going outside in the hot sun wearing a full foam costume is a pretty bad news all day, every day. That happened to me at San Diego Comic-Con this last year. It was too much. Just walking from my hotel to the convention center in my costume was too much. So it was only it was less than a mile away, and I called an Uber to get a ride there.
And you're like, I'm not doing this because I'm lazy, guys.
Yeah. I got in. The guy pulled up. He had the AC on. I was like, you, sir, are a hero.
We're best friends now.
A hero in a Prius. The most important thing, too, though, is you may not realize how much you sweat wearing your costume. So make sure you drink lots and lots of water.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you'll be surprised. Yeah. Oh, man. You'll be surprised, too, how much water you drink, and then you're like, I haven't peed in a while. Like, that's right, because you're sweating it all out, and it's really gross.
Sweating. Yep.
So, there you go. Keep cool. Don't wear your costume for too long. That's another one, too. You may think that you can handle it, but usually you can't. And then you'll end up super dehydrated and cranky.
Yeah. You don't realize how tired you are until, you sit down and take it off, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Kellen. That's the answer. Don't be a hero, everybody. Don't be a hero.
Don't be a hero.
Marhef Crafts wants to know, I'm making World of Warcraft Tyrande costume, but I have a question about her jewelry. I sculpted the chest piece using monster clay, made a brush-on mold, cast it using Smoothcast 65D. It's really tricky and time-consuming to cast it because it requires a lot of layers and hours of work. Do you have any ideas about another material I can use to make it? It has to be durable since the whole piece is really thin and delicate. I already tried freeform air, but it's too fragile. Yeah, if you already have the silicone mold, there's a bunch of different stuff you could cast into it. So what you might try is using epoxy and fiberglass. So actually, last week I've been working on this helmet, this Starlord helmet. I show how to use epoxy coat and fiberglass cloth and epoxamite to reinforce the inside of the helmet. But you could use the same thing to cast a piece out of your armor mold. You would brush on a layer of epoxy coat. That'll go in and capture all the surface details. And then you put fiberglass cloth on the back of that about an hour later.
Ah, and it's super strong.
And then you go over that with the epoxamite. That's their laminating epoxy that saturates all that fiberglass cloth. Let it cure overnight, and then it'll pop out, and it'll be fairly thin, very durable.
Wow, and lightweight.
And and more lightweight than for sure than just trying to get a lot of layers of a urethane resin. So there you go. Go watch the helmet video I did a little while ago. I go into that better. And also, Smooth On probably has a video on their website showing how to cast pieces in fiberglass. So there you go.
That helmet's coming out really nicely.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going here. Thank you, Marhef Crafts. This one comes from Kungings. What is your favorite material to make your props out of? Oh. Becca, what is your favorite material? Or materials, you can pick more than one.
Materials? Well, I've made all of my props out of Worbla. Oh, wait, no, I have made some foam props, actually. I have made some foam props. But I like Worbla because it's so easy.
It's easy for you because you've been using it for so long.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. It's my go-to because it's hopefully not as toxic as a lot of other things, and I like the sturdiness that I get, and when I'm making my prop, I feel like I want this prop to be around for a really long time, and if it's made out of Worbla, then it's really durable, and I might have to repaint it down the line, but I know that the shape will, for the most part, still be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is something to consider. I will say, like, I'm trying to look if I have an example. I made a prop. It's over there. Hold on. Doing the thing again. Okay. So this is all made out of EVA foam, and I made it in about 5 hours right before Dragon Con because I was in a hurry.
Hey, I think I touched that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had this at we were at New York City. Oh, I forgot to mention too. We just saw you in New York City when we were there for Construct. Yeah. Now this is pretty good, I would say. Pretty good, especially for having done it so fast. But this is all made out of EVA foam. The benefits of this is I made it really fast. It won't break. In fact, it can bend. And if I lost this, then I wouldn't be really upset about it.
Yeah.
Boy, this is getting beat up too.
It's not hard. It's not going to kill anybody.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's convention safe. So for conventions and stuff, I love using EVA foam. Now, if I'm going to make something that I'm planning on like putting up on the wall, like Ray's blaster here, and something that I can get a higher level of detail on, I will either mold it or I'm sorry, sculpt it out of like wood or plastic or 3D print it. And then this one was molded and cast. So this one is solid plastic resin. The benefit of this is I can sand it super smooth. I can put a chrome shiny finish on it. But this took me far longer to make. If I dropped it, it would probably break. And if I hit someone in the face with it, it would hurt a lot. So, so this one generally, I mean, I don't have a Ray costume anyway, but this one generally stays at home, up on the wall.
It's so nice. Yeah.
So when I'm for that situation, I like using materials like that, or for stuff for conventions, I generally go with foam.
Yeah. I think, especially like nowadays when conventions are really starting to change their weapons policies every year. Um, I'm, and even most of my commission stuff, I'll make like swords out of foam because I want to make sure that they're not gonna get,
Yeah.
taken away.
That would be such a huge bummer if you commission this piece, you get it, you're really excited about it, you get to the con, especially New York City Comic Con, they're pretty strict about it.
Yeah.
And they're like, sorry, you can't bring it in.
Just be on the safe side,
Yeah.
And conventions aren't the place where you wanna, you should be debuting your amazing prop made out of metal anyway. Like,
Yeah.
save that for a photo shoot
Yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
else.
That is great advice. Thank you for the question. This next one comes from Murden again. What's the best way to thin acrylic-based paints if you're using a gravity-fed airbrush? Most acrylics can be thinned with water. Ta-da! You can also get airbrush medium, or some paints can be thinned, depending on the paint, they can be thinned with rubbing alcohol. But usually if it's just a normal acrylic paint, you just thin it with water.
Yeah. Watch us, your friend.
I saw recently someone was working with golden paints. I haven't tried golden, that brand yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Airbrush. I think they make an airbrush medium as well.
Nice paints. I like them.
Yeah, I want to try those out at some point. So for example, I'm on Amazon right now. There is golden high flow acrylic. I bet those are probably good for airbrushes, but then they also have their airbrush medium. Now, I have no idea what that is. It could be a bottle of water, who knows? But for the most part, you can thin acrylic with water.
They're selling very expensive bottles of water.
Yeah, I know. It's a pint for like 4 ounces for $6.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Mm.
And I will say too, like we love our leather paints, Angelus leather paints. They sell their own thinner, but I've also thinned it with just distilled water before, and it worked fine.
Yeah, I think there's the companies will always sell, their thinner, but water works.
Yep. Thanks for the question, Murden. We got one more here, and I think we're gonna call it Blitzagog is hard-hitting question. Waffles, pancakes, or French toast? You gotta pick one.
No. I love all of those breakfast items.
Yeah.
For all times during the day. But if I'm picking one, it's probably going to be pancakes.
Yeah. I think everyone in the chat is chiming in. So Core Geek says waffles, Cullen's Workshop says bacon. Bacon was not an option. I did actually this last weekend I had a bacon waffle. It was a waffle that had bits of bacon in it and then 2 pieces of bacon on it. So if that's on the table, then that's my choice.
That's an option. Oh, crepes. Crepes are good too.
Oh, now I want that.
Yeah.
It's almost dinner time.
You guys are just throwing everything out there. Pizza.
Yeah.
Like...
I want a pizza waffle. Can I have a pizza waffle? Oh, we got another question here. This one's from Naz. Making a Ratchet cosplay, and I want to make a Clank to wear as a backpack. That sounds like an awesome idea. I want to paint him with chrome paint so it looks super shiny. Do you think it would be better to make him out of foam or mold and rotocast him? Oh, it's going to be very tricky to get EVA Foam to have a really chrome shiny finish. I'm not saying it's impossible.
Have you ever done that?
I have not. However, our buddy over at ChromEffect Studios did.
Oh.
Yeah, he chromed a piece of foam. And it was
He chromed
the foam, and it was still flexible too.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't have the know-how or technology to do that.
There might be some work.
Yeah, I would probably build it out of like plastic, and then sand it nice and smooth, and then spray it with some of that shiny chrome paint that we were talking about earlier. Yeah, there it is. SpazStix. Excellent. Now everyone in the chat is just sharing recipes. Apparently
important things in life.
This one is the waffle of insane greatness. I'll have to check that out later.
Pizza waffle.
All right, cool. Great questions, everybody. Thank you so much, Prop Tarts, for bringing the awesome questions to us. You guys make this show happen, because without it, it would just be me talking in a room by myself.
Yeah.
Becca, thank you so much for hanging with us for the last hour.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun. I'm really glad that I could be here and participate.
Absolutely. I guess a good place to send people, if you go to beccanoel.storenvy.com. Not only can you see some cool stuff that you ought to buy from Becca, but there's links to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and your website. All over there. So head on over there right now, everyone. Throw Becca all the follows and tell her how awesome she is. I think that's it. That's all we have for today. Thank you, everyone, again so much for hanging out with us. And we will see you all.
Hi, Andy.
We will. In the chat.
Yeah. Andy was one of my Valkyrie EVs. She was vapor.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us, Andy. I don't know if I will be I will be in LA next weekend for VidCon. I don't know if we'll do an episode or not. So stay tuned to know more. We may not have an episode next week. Just saying. Okay. Thanks again, and we'll maybe see you. Maybe we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone. Yay!